So I'm going to give you the top 7 questions that we think you need to ask yourself. And we've done this over and over with federal employees in live classroom settings to get answers to help you move down the road of being emotionally ready to retire. Hello, this is Brandon Christy, President of Retirement Benefits Institute. So glad you joined us today. I have a unique conversation I want to have with you today we haven't had before. Sometimes when we hold federal benefits training, we're in a live setting, we not only get to talk through the numbers of how to calculate your federal pension, all the fine points of taxes and TSP investments, but we get to go into a non-financial aspect of retirement discussion. And we actually call this retirement beyond the pension. There is more to be concerned about than just the numbers, and we're going to take a brief few minutes here to discuss that. I came about this as helping federal employees. We would crunch the numbers. They would finally decide, yes, I see that I can retire. I'm comfortable with my planning with the federal benefits. And then they would go back to work and not retire. And so I would ask them a year later, why are you still working? Why didn't you retire? Well, I wasn't ready. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after I retire. And come to find out, here in America, we often identify ourselves with our job, and we are connected to it so intimately that we don't have even a clear identity away from work, and that makes retirement a scary event. So I'm going to give you the top 7 questions that we think you need to ask yourself, and we've done this over and over with federal employees in live classroom settings to get answers to help you move down the road of being emotionally ready to retire. So here it comes. Jot this down. Question number 1 is, what is success in retirement? What a great question. What is success in retirement? Is it control? Is it control of your time, of your schedule? Is it control of your life? What would be success? Write down your key points that matter to you. Some people have said, and even recently, as early as today, I was talking with someone who is going to retire at the end of the year, and I said, why? Why are you now ready to retire? And they said, I'm tired of making that commute into work every day. And that was the final thing. She wanted control of her time for that long commute. So that's question number 1. Number 2, what is your main thing? What is your main thing? What matters most to you in your life? Is it your family? Is it your hobbies? Is it your future plans in retirement? Do you want to travel? You need to sit down and come up with what is your main thing in your life. Now, this is a bit of an intrinsic question, so allow your mind to wander and just jot down some notes, do some brainstorming on that question. Number 3, what are your passions? One federal employee, after he retired, he took his hobby of Tai Chi and began to offer classes. And before you know it, within a couple, 3 years of retirement, he was actually working through 5 classes of Tai Chi. So the small business, if you will, flourished from his hobby after he retired, and that was a passion of his. And maybe your passion is supporting your community in some form. Start doing that now as you approach the end of your federal employment so that you can step more into that after you retire. Maybe it's church work and you're serving within the confines of your church or your community. Do those things well now. And again, write down your passion as it relates to what you might do after you don't have to clock in for 40 hours a week. So question number 4, what do you value? What's most important to you? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it your home, your church, traveling? What do you value? Think through those things, even list them, and even consider listing them and putting a number by them, 1, 2, 3, 4. Place those things on this list and focus on being able to spend more time on the things you value the most. That's what retirement can give to you. Question number 5, what are your strengths? Bear with me, I'm going somewhere of these next 3 questions that's very important. What are your strengths? Oftentimes in our jobs, we have to focus on getting our weaknesses up to a minimum standard so we can conduct our job well. Well, here's good news. In retirement, you can throw aside your weaknesses and just live in your strengths. So list them. Imagine that you are doing things that stay right in your sweet spot as much time as you want, all the time if you want it. List those strengths and think about working towards them. Number 6, what is the biggest fear about change? What is your biggest fear about change? Here's an interesting fact about change. When we decide to have change, we're okay with it. But when change is thrust upon us by other people, all of a sudden, it's not so favorable. We don't like it. For many of you, the idea of federal retirement is going to be pushed upon you by someone, by agency standards, by required retirement ages. All sorts of issues are out there why you know you're going to have to retire at a certain point. So instead of fighting that change, embrace that. Take control of that and own it. But first, we need to list what your biggest fear is about change and address that point. And then watch this last question, number 7. How do your strengths help you overcome your fear? How do your strengths help you overcome your fear? Think about that for just a moment, in that you're afraid of the change that's coming, where your whole life changes from what you were doing 40, 50 hours a week to you don't know what's next. To address that, again, go back to your strengths and focus on those and rely on those. Well, these are 7 quick questions you need to be asking yourself to help prepare you emotionally for retirement. If you didn't get all those, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be glad to get you some information. If you need more help, not just on these type of issues, but on calculating what your federal retirement will look like, we'll be glad to help you. Follow our links below, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.